people who are actually screening the resume are in a position to immediately pick up those resume. And if a hiring manager who is preparing for the interview, you spend time on the resume, will ask leading probing questions. So your conviction, your confidence to respond to those facts that you mentioned should actually give you the right resume for you. So for me, there is nothing like an impressive resume. So resume is all about what you are, what you have done, what are your excitements. All those should be, articulated there properly. Right spelling, no grammatical mistake, and make it as simple as possible. So when you create that, it is a right resume for you. Thank you.
So you got your answer? You know what to do now, correct? Good. Okay, next question.
Shalin, can I add some more?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, very sorry.
In addition to this, I would like to add 1 or 2 points. Like nowadays, resumes are being selected through software. So try to understand the keywords that must be included in a resume. And and number 2 is like prepare a resume for the type of job you're applying. Don't make a general resume for every place. Have resumes focused to particular job if you're applying for a job.
I'll pick up the word impressive. Impression comes in the look and feel. Many times we find that people don't bother about the fonts they use, the entire flow of the resume. It's appalling to look at that. So sometimes people take the pain of sometimes framing. Framing is not important. I'm just giving an idea. But then how do you start? What is the flow? And how does it finish? This entire flow and the look and feel of the resume is very important to make it distinct. Alignment and all. We find people sometimes they are they don't even put their mind, and when you look at it, you feel the person is not at all interested. So that impression word definitely is important when you look at the look and feel of the resume.
So if you're not serious about how your resume looks like, it gives an impression you're not serious about the work.
Yeah.
Let me answer this or add with the permission of the panel from your point of view. Your resume is a fresher's resume in most of the cases, right? We are also talking about the resumes which are of an experienced professionals. Freshers resume, when we screen, manual screening, not a search engine, what happens is that you look at few things. You look at the scores, you look at the course what a person has done, you also look at the extracurricular activities what a person has been involved in. And fourth thing what you look at is that what sort of a project a person has done. Because all the freshers are more or less same, only differentiators are these three or four things. Marks are basically for the screening, if you want to really keep a cutoff. Projects are basically to identify who are the people who can understand my industry better. So it's nothing for you to do. If it suits my requirements, perhaps I'll take that CV. So there is nothing wrong from your side. What you should do is, as Sebastian was saying and others, ensure that you are putting things in a very systematic manner in terms of achievements, in terms of project, what did you do in the project, also your extracurricular activities, whether you were a president of the college or you were a secretary in a particular academy or you were involved in certain event organizing activities. So put on these things. These basically gives fodder to the interviewer to ask questions, and you can really lead interview in that direction by having right things put in the interview in the CV. That is how you should intelligently work on it, right?
So great, some great inputs. Please make note of that. I think that's going to be really helpful to you. Next question, guys.
Good afternoon, sir. My question is to Yuvraj, sir. Sir, being an IT student, I want to have a career in government sector. Sir, can you please explain what kind of opportunities do we have in government sectors? Like, I'm interested in networking and security, basically.
So I think Navneet should answer this. Yeah. Being from, okay, I think before he takes on to this, government sector definitely has opportunities, but it's important for you to decide that you really want to grow in an exponential manner in your career. In terms of learning, I have worked with a guy who came to me for an interview. He worked with TRAI chairman around 3-4 years back, and he was the guy who basically wrote the policies of internet policy of the country, India. That was around 8 to 10 years back. And I met him, and he was saying the amount of problems he had to face. while working in the government setup. Everything, even if he had to go for a laptop, he had to look for a server, if he had to look for a connection, the way he used to run around and get things done, and papers used to move around at a normal pace. Even if it is simple, it used to take some amount of time. So IT, if you need to really exploit your potentials and really grow exponentially in terms of a career, the right place to be is the private sector, and there are a lot of good companies like startups who are doing great work around that. If still you want to join or look for an opportunity in the government sector, I'm sure that every PSU has a great function in terms of IT sector and IT department. They have huge infrastructure, they have huge investments also made. The only problem is they may not have the right people to really guide. They may have a culture which is slightly different. And I think that all these places you can apply and join. I think it gives a stable career, definitely. Yes, a lot of people still work on getting a career which is stable. So I think that's not a problem. One can look at that.
An organization like Professional Services, Grant Thornton, and interesting an organization is my client called Forensic Group. And then worldwide they're talking about IT security. And GT, Grant Thornton, is again an organization doing extremely well in network and security. So don't just look at the government only. So PSUs and such organizations are there.
I'll add to it, to your question on IT openings in the government. I was in Indian Air Force and taking care of IT there. So the defense forces are also a good place to work on IT. We have in the armed forces nowadays the operations are automated. The entire thing has got changed. A big backbone of internet backbone has been developed. So those things are still not outsourced or cannot be outsourced to any private agent for managing them. So it is the team internal who manages it. So that can be an option as well.
Next question, please.
So my question is, how can I find the first job if I don't get the job in the placement drive?
Okay, your question is for whom?
So I'm from the IT industry.
No, I mean for whom?
From Mr. Navneet.
Okay.
See, if you don't get a job in a placement, of course, all of our companies as our career sections, you can very well apply there. And as I said, you need to, when you apply, it's, even if you have a resume, it's important for you when you apply. Let's say if you apply in Page Traffic or you apply in Make My Trip, ensure you don't just send a same copy to all of us. So it's very, very important. Even if you don't get in placement, the thing is you understand that you want to build a career in that company.
So being an interviewer, what do you see in a resume? What makes a resume different?
For me, the resume, as we discussed earlier, the resume is, of course, the qualifications are there, the grades are there, but what makes it different is how does it correlate to the organization, or how does it correlate to the industry which you are applying in for. So if you, let's say you have done your internship in a PSU or in a, let's say, a dairy unit, in a dairy farm or dairy unit, which I say, let's say Amul, then how will I correlate to that? So if I'm in an IT sector and you are not, your background or your internships or your projects are not related to this, so I'll be a little hesitant to, so that counts for us.
I think that was already touched by Raj.
It's a right question. I think that your question is the best question to ask, that in case I don't get a selection in a campus drive, how do I really get selected? Where do I look for a job? The other day I was talking to some people, they were saying that what will you look at people in the campus, if people at the campus don't join, what will they do? Suppose you have made 25 offers to some campus and you don't find people turning up. So my answer to them was that, campus freshers don't have much of an option. For freshers, the best way of getting a job is a campus drive. Otherwise, placement consultants or external market or open source or directly approaching people in a very established setup, freshers resume will be seen as a freshers resume. You should come through a process of campus. But having said that, there are a lot of smaller organizations which are looking for people who have a niche skill. There are a huge amount of startups in IT sector who are looking for people who are skillful and they have attitude. They may not be in position to pay you very huge money, and that's what you should be very happy about. You should, while working on the campus, you should be in position to at least identify with the help of TI and all these organizations, which are these startups who are looking for right talent. You work with them, I think that you will be learning far, far more than you working in a bigger setups. And that's what your attitude should be. And that is what you should look for.
I would like to add that, we talk about search engine and it picks the keyword, right? Another aspect which is happening in this new technology world is how do you put an algorithm which matches the skill and the job specs. Beautifully it is designed, and I'm working with National Skill Development Corporation, and they're working with various companies like Accenture and all that. So what is happening, people don't have time, to keep on looking at resume. So when you talked about impressive resume, you are asking for writing a resume, put entire skills there so that this algorithm can pick up your skill and match with the right profile.
I just want to just give a different dimension and don't mind. What's your name? Deepika, I think it's a very powerful question that you asked, but I really want you to think slightly differently. India has got so much of opportunity for jobs. If there are different numbers coming in, some people talking about 500 million and really 270 million job requirements are there. So please keep in mind that there is nothing that you should think in terms of. There should not be any negative thinking in your mind that you are. Understood. I didn't say that. I'm so sorry.
No,
I was
I'm
actually
sorry.
countering that.
I said that, but I would like to add one
No,
thing.
no.
Why is the mindset that you will be in those 20, like 75% of the people?
Precisely.
You can be in the 25% also, correct?
No, precisely. Let me actually bring a different dimension altogether. In the next 2 years, okay, we need 750 CEOs. Next 2 years, 750. How many students are here total? No, here.
I think around 150, 200. Around 200.
200. So 4 times more CEOs are required. 1 point. We need 10,000 functional leaders in the next 2 years. We need skilled people in all walks of life. No, the Skill Development Academy is actually struggling to get resources to people. So there is something that India is offering to all of us. Okay. Again, my suggestion is that you are the best. Okay. Believe in that, and I can guarantee you that you will get the job. But having said that, all these points that our fellow panelists mentioned about are very, very important, relevant. And my suggestion, therefore, is that you have a bright future. Build on it. Is that fine?
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
I'd like to add to that with one of the example. Last year when we started,
Guys,
we started hiring people. Then at that point of time, we came across a girl. She was exactly the case which you are talking about. She did her master's, didn't got any job in the whatever she wanted to be. So she applied to us and she said, you have started this particular organization. She studied our complete website thoroughly and she said that I can do this particular part of I can handle this particular part of the website in the terms of content. So we said, okay, fine, let's come and meet. She sent her a mail. So when we met that girl, she had a complete plan in her mind that, okay, these are the kind of things which you can work on. We already were working on certain kind of stuff. And she exactly matched that particular thing which we had in our mind. She thoroughly worked on that. And we certainly hired her. And it's been a year now that she has been the best performer in our company. We are planning to give her better opportunity, better roles in our company because we realize that these are the people who, it's not that you didn't got a job, you're not capable of anything. You are capable of anything, but at certain point of time when you applied for certain jobs, there were certain number of openings, for example 100 openings, and there were 200 candidates. 100 would be left out for sure, right? But how you have to find out, there are a lot of startups like us who are actually doing certain kind of work. So where you can actually come, and as Mr. Yuvraj also said, that we actually give you the kind of environment where you can learn, where you can actually challenge yourself. We are also a startup. What we do, it's a small team. When we started, it was a team of around 8 people. Gradually, we increased the number of people in our team, and we actually realized after a year that these all were those people who actually didn't got a job at the end of their MBA or their BTech or anything, and then they're doing very good amount of work with us. And because of these people, it's not us who are actually making the company. These are actually those people who are helping Mota Chashma to grow. So that is what I'm trying to say, that find out what exactly you can do and what you can deliver to a company. Go and join them. Once you do the work, all the big brands are ready to hire you.
In fact, what Lokesh is saying, it resonates with me. Make My Trip, we look at a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of startups. It is said that, out of 10 startups, only 2 or 3 basically succeed. There are 6 or 7 which leaves huge amount of learning to the founders and the co-founders and people who had been involved in it. So we deliberately look for guys who have been involved in the startups, in the entrepreneurial setup, talk to them and hire them and give them an area to really handle. So I think as a institute, you guys should also encourage, have a group, have a team which should really think on innovative business ideas, create groups of people who are really interested in doing some work around IT, some people who are interested in doing some work around entrepreneurship ideas and all such stuff. So I think before you pass out, 6 to 8 months, at least people also start thinking on this as an alternate career. I think it will make huge amount of difference to your confidence level, your marketability, and overall relevance to the job market. That's how I think that I'll advise you all. Yeah.
I like to say we have Center for Ideas, Innovations, Incubation and Enterprise.
Very good. I think
So that's a good thing.
Several things.
that definitely helps. You guys should actively participate in it. Yeah.
That is a different matter altogether. How many students are coming forward to participate in the activities of CII? That is a different matter. Very few are coming forward. We have asked faculty members to carry out some research in certain areas where the problems of the city are resolved. In that, certain students have come forward. 6 IT projects have been taken by them, in addition to their normal projects which are to be done as per requirement of the university to get degree. So students are coming forward like this.
Right.
And this process is going on at RDIS. RDIS is slightly different from other, not slightly, I'll say very much different from other institutes. There are so many activities which go on here where if the students participate, that their overall development is going to be fantastic. But as somebody said, some of the students do not take that much interest and do not participate in all the activities. They are very selective. So they only develop selected, you can say, competencies, not full.
That's important. One should participate. As right since beginning, we have had a theme wherein we are saying that it's not only your functional skills. What else have you done additionally other than your education? Education is given. You are coming out with a degree. It goes to prove that you have studied. But what have you done differently is important. And if you participate in such activities, I think it makes great amount of difference. Thank you.
I'd just like to add one more point for your reference. In the same report of McKinsey and NASSCOM, it also says that India is going to be facing or is already facing a shortage of around 3 million plus skilled workforce. So there's an opportunity, there's a huge opportunity. Just look at that opportunity, because it's basically, I'm sorry, we are all like that. The moment we say that 90% don't get placed, we assume that we will be in those 90% slots. So don't think like that. You could be among the 10%. And when I say that there's a gap, it means that on one side, industry is not finding the right talent, and on the other side, students are not getting the right opportunity. So the point is that it's a great opportunity if you get yourself skilled, if you get your, other things, like right in place, there is a big opportunity available out there for you to grab it. So next question.
May I add? Like when we say the figures, the 90% is not employable. We don't say that they are not readily employable. So you have to make yourself ready for the employment. That is the fact. That is the key factor. So the opportunity, it is not that you are not employable. You are all employable. You have the parts. It is only things to add some skills onto it so that you become employable. It is not that you are not employable. Am I correct?
Correct. So guys, last question.
Good afternoon, sir. I have the question for Mr. Niladi, sir. How can we search a training institute for MC students? Best training institute?
So MCA for what? You mean projects?
No, for a training. For a training purpose.
For skills, for
Yes,
skill
sir.
development.
Would you like to take it?
Okay, we basically do skill development. We basically what we do is that we like do skill analysis, and then we find out where is a skill gap, and then we train the students, followed by certification, which is basically vendor like vendor specific certification, either from Microsoft or Oracle or IBM. It's like let's say for example you feel that you're good at the web technologies, you want to do something in the web technologies. So we'll do skill gap analysis for you. We see if you have the right aptitude for that. We put you into it. We train you, and then post that we get you certified from these bodies, so that you're more skilled and more placeable.
So basically, first try to understand where you want to go after MCA. What is
So
the
be
exact
clear
kind of
about that.
technology that you want to take over? Whether it is networks, whether it is database, whether it is.
Programming. I basically want to go in the programming sector.
But in programming again is a
Programming
vast. Where what into
What
web
kind of
web
programming?
development or
Java, basically in Java
okay.
coding.
Okay.
Okay.
So fine, we can probably take that later on. I think all I could just say is right now that if you need the right institutes, you can just Google it. Okay. And the other thing is that if you want more details from our side, I'll be more than glad to help you on that.
Thank you, sir.
So fine, guys. With this, I'll conclude the session and leave you. Okay. Okay. We'll take a last question. So panel says let's take
Very
a last
good
question.
afternoon to one and all. So my question is, today we have learned that just grab the opportunity what comes to you and learn everything whatever you manage to have. So I have a little bit confusion in that. I'm seeking my future in as a developer. And if I couldn't manage to get a internship or summer training in that field, and I get something in some other field, so should I grab that opportunity because that gonna add on that on my CV? So what impact that will affect in my CV or
See,
if I-
when I said in terms of grabbing the opportunity, it means moving in terms of a career. Initial phase of career, it is important for you to build your self-confidence, your familiarity with the culture of the corporates, and also adapt to the workplace. So I think in that case, I'll not say more to do with the Java or .NET what you are interested in, and perhaps you are interested in Java and you're getting a .NET opportunity. Post your qualification, should you take it or not? That's a different question. One should look at what skill sets you have, is it matching or not. But when you embark on a career journey, one should not be very fussy about what am I getting. You should get into an organization because wetting your feet will give you learnings rather than really sitting outside and waiting for the right opportunity. 1 year will go off, you'll not get any job, then people will start asking question, what have you done for last 1 year? So from that perspective, I was saying that grab the opportunity and make best use of it. When you're saying in terms of a summer internship, I still will say that as a summer intern you have various options. If you go to an organization which is an IT organization, you are interested in doing a project on Java or a .NET, I'm sure people would be in position to give you a project which is more akin to your interest and the need of the organization. So that these are two different areas. Does it answer your question?
So my question was, should I accept that?
No, summer internship, you should do it in an area which you are interested in and also organizational need is there.
If I couldn't manage to get in that area.
So if you have not been in position to get in that area, I'll say that you will have a last resort something. You'll have to take up something which is coming to you, because as a student you still have an opportunity to do later on a project in your area. But I'll say as a summer intern, you should look at, if it's a technical skill, I think that you should focus on getting into a project which gives you that skills. If you're not getting at one place, perhaps you should look at somewhere else where you can do it, maybe a smaller setup. But do that which meets your expectations and which meets your functional skill sets requirement. So yeah.
I would say you should actually use the internet as your tool to learn. For example, there are a lot of things like Quora, Khan Academy, where you can actually, I have seen people who actually go and join the courses over there, and then with time they learn. One is that, another. So there are a lot of websites right now. There are also startups like us who are helping out the organizations, big organizations like from Coke, Pepsi, any organization, and people like you to bridge the gap in terms of internships. How many of you have heard about letsintern.com? How many of you know about 2019.com? How many of you have actually applied for any internship through that? Hardly 5% of the total people who know. Right, so go and apply in those organizations. They will actually give you the kind of work which you want to learn on, because those organizations are generally the people who want certain people for a very specific task. Right, for example, recently I saw a campaign being launched by Nokia when it was a Nokia earlier. Now it has been changed. So they wanted to have few people, few brand ambassadors in colleges like yours, who can actually help in promoting the brand Lumia in the society. Right, so they made them the brand ambassadors. One. Another, Pepsi does such kind of task on a very massive scale. They hire a lot of people from across the country, and they don't hire summer interns like that. You just can apply at any point of time round the year. We actually hire a lot of interns on a monthly basis. Like we hire on an average 3 to 5 interns on a monthly basis, whom we want them to work on a very specific task. For example, I like to share when we were planning to launch our website. As being a startup, we had already put most of our money into development and a lot of other things. When we wanted to launch, we looked out for some advertising agency. So the kind of rates they quoted us were actually, we were not able to spend at that much amount of money at that point of time. What I thought that as I had already done my summer internship in Ogilvy and Mather, I thought that these are who is actually going to work on my project in any summer intern in any company. So these are the kind of people like you who just after your graduation or your post graduation work on the basics of the research, a kind of for example, if in any advertising agency, they'll pitch a particular campaign to the client, but at the back end, people like us who have very limited amount of experience does the ground level research. Right. So what we did, we hired those people from IGZA-MB and various other colleges who helped us out in devising that, in actually strategizing the complete launch campaign. And seriously, it worked a lot. Many of the people who we were in touch with, a lot of advertising agencies, whom we said that we want to launch this particular website and how can you help us? They came back to us at the end that, boss, aapne ye kisse karaya? Then we were like, these are the kind of students like you who actually designed the complete strategy, right from the banners to posters to video, the launch video, the complete Facebook handling of the page at the time of launch. Everything that was being managed by people like you, the MBA graduates. So I would say that there are companies who are looking for people for a very short, specific amount of work where you can apply, and you should not say at the end, okay, I didn't got any opportunity. Boss, they are already available. Just you should have to go and check them out. If you'll do that.
Two things. One is, please build your networking skill. You must use a social media to build a network, not just saying, hey, I exist or I like so and so. Please build your entire networking skills through your social media and connect to the right people. And it works when you say, hi, I'm looking for a job or I'm looking for an internship, and just put it in a social media. People grab those opportunities as employer as well. Okay?
So guys, I hope a lot of learning done today, and I hope that you would actually try and implement a lot of these. So finally, I'd like to conclude the session with a thought or probably with a learning that yes, you need to really be very clear about who is going to be impacted. I would take the statement from one of the panels and say that you need to understand who's going to be impacted. It's ultimately you. So it is you who has to actually work towards it. If you work hard for yourself, definitely everything else is going to work for you. And I would like to also take this opportunity to thank the panelists for sharing their time and also sharing such valuable inputs. I hope a lot of learning was done today, and also the management of the college for probably giving us this platform to come and share our views out here. Thank you so much. Thank you guys.